Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we're here. We're live. It's the post game. The Niners win 27-7 over the Seattle Seahawks. They get a big victory at home opener. We finally beat the Seahawks, man. Dreaded Seattle Seahawks, but it doesn't really feel like a win to me. It's kind of a bittersweet win. It's a somber win. I mean, we know what happened. Trey Lance, he fractured his ankle. And he's out for the rest of the season. He's gonna have surgery. That's our boy Smitty. I know we're upset. I know we're frustrated. I mean, the big news is the Niners won. That was good. The insurance policy is Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, that is amazing that they had that insurance policy, right? Like, the Niners did that, and this is why they did it in case he got hurt. But I feel like this injury shouldn't have happened. It could have been avoided. I'm just sad for Trey Lance. Like, I don't really want to celebrate a victory because I'm still like, I don't know. It felt weird. I was at the game. It just was like, I don't know, man. It was weird, like sitting there. Like, I was hyped at times. Like, yeah, okay, the team was winning, and it just didn't hit like a complete win. Like, I just couldn't like embrace it that hard, Smitty. Like, it was tough because Trey Lance goes down, and we've talked about this before that you can't call those run plays for Trey. On those third and short running between the tackles. Eventually, a guy's gonna get hurt like that. And it's tough, man. And I know he wants to use him as that dynamic guy, but you hate to see any type of injury. I'm gonna pray for Trey Lance for a good recovery. It's just such a tough, tough, tough thing to see, man. I hate to see it. I hate Trey Lance getting hurt. The players, they had his back, but there were fans. Again, this was one of those things. I was there, and there was fans that were actually happy, man. And that's what I really hate is this fan base is going to continue to be, tumultuous, and I just want people to realize like Trey's a young man. He's gonna rehab. He's gonna get over this, and I think he can bounce back. And it reminded me of that Dak Prescott injury. It was a very similar injury. It was tough. He rehabbed and he came back strong. Nick Bosa tore his ACL. He came back and he's amazing. And Jimmy Garoppolo tore his ACL, and he came back at a high level. So he can come back. Injuries are part of a sport, but you just hate to see it. What do you got to say about this game, Smitty, and the injuries specifically?
Um, I mean, I honestly, I'm holding back. I'm holding back because I don't want to bring too much negativity to the vibe and the win. And look, you're here. I know, but the point of your show and your page and your channel is to lift up the Niners. And so, like, I feel like it's not my place to come in and start try to spread negativity off of a win. So that's part of my hesitancy to even come on tonight. Is like, first of all, I'm drained from everything I've endured all day long with the stuff that I've got to do. So I don't really even have the energy today. But like on top of that, to literally like in my opinion, Shanahan just ruined Trey, and Plan B is why he was reckless with Plan A. Like I feel like if you didn't have this Plan B, if you didn't have this Plan B in place to then ruin Plan A, you wouldn't have ruined Plan A. You would have been more cautious with Plan A. He's been planning Plan B the whole time. He's been constantly putting value, money, stripping away offensive line pieces from Plan A to help support his Plan B, which, yay, Shanahan called it right. Yay. His Plan B worked out. His insurance policy is so awesome. I'm glad we got insurance. Maybe he shouldn't have even gone that direction and protected his quarterback instead of drawing plays up the middle for him.
I agree,
Like
Smitty.
he wrote, and I don't mean to be too negative about Trey, but coming back from this and then enduring what he's going to have to endure to get the job back and keep the job if Shanahan's even in a head coaching position where he's at right now. I mean, that's a tall order for Trey. Like to
Yeah.
me, I feel like Trey's career is ruined. I know everyone's going to be like, "Hey, he's
Ruined.
going to come back," but that's how I feel. That's how I feel. And second of all, I feel like Shanahan. It's just one of another long list of things that he's botched. And I don't care if someone would say, "Oh, Jimmy's a winner." Shanahan took the team to an NFC Championship game. Smitty, you're out of line. You're crazy for talking about him being on the hot seat. I don't think he's on the hot seat. I don't think. I feel like I'm by myself sometimes on how I feel about him. But I truly believe that The reason, in my opinion, the reason you feel the way you feel right now, where you feel sick and you just won a game. I know you lost Trey, and that makes you sick in general. But I think the reason you're confused, you're feeling like 2 or 3 different feelings at once, is because you know in your heart that winning a Super Bowl is going to be really, really hard with Jimmy G. At the end of the day, at the end of the road, maybe you win games. Maybe you guys still fight really hard. But like you know what Shanahan's capable of doing with Jimmy under center in a big game with big decisions on the line, how he takes his foot off the gas. You got a broken offensive line that you played the Seahawks. Okay. You're going to go in and face harder, tougher, stronger defenses, blitzing the hell out of Jimmy G, planning for Jimmy G. Because now you're planning for Jimmy G, planning
They
for
didn't
Trey
plan.
Lance.
Yeah, they planned for
Planning
Trey.
for Trey Lance is different.
I agree. And Smitty, I want to real quick. I hate to interrupt you. And Smitty, let it out. If you want to get it out of your system, like please. I don't think you're the only one. I'm reading the chat. They agree with you, Smitty. Like listen to it. Like I got a lot to say, man. I'm so broken up about this. Like I get it. The insurance policy, cool, great. Jimmy can win games, but we were at the top of the mountain so many times, but we faltered because we know what Jimmy can do. Like if they win a Super Bowl and they go out there and they do this and it's a swan song season, shit, I'll eat crow and I'll be so happy. I'll be like, oh my God, they won a Super Bowl with Jimmy and Kyle. And they have to prove it though, but they haven't been able to. And that's the thing is I feel gutted because Trey Lance, and the comments are saying it, is he's missing another year of development. Like, I know he's young and he can rehab, but that's a lot, man. That's a tough injury. He's young. He hasn't had a lot of starts. He is a raw quarterback, and now he's behind the 8 ball again. And I know people are going to sit there and say, oh, yeah, he should have ran. It was an option play. Bro, you have 3 running backs on this roster that could have taken that ball in Deebo Samuel. Like, I feel that he could have called a different play. And when Jimmy came in, he was throwing the ball, Smitty. Like, he was throwing it. Like, why can't you let Trey throw the ball? Did he 100% trust Trey? I don't know. I just feel so bad for Trey Lance because this was supposed to be the season. And you see, like, the look on his face, this 22-year-old man, like, just looking at his face. Like, I rewatched things. I saw the pit, like, just you can just see like he's sunken, man, and he's in a dark place. And I know these injuries are tough for anybody. I know Bosa was tough after the injury, like he was gutted, and Jimmy he was gutted. Like all these injuries are so tough when you have a career or a season-ending injury. Like it is tough mentally, but man, I mean, Trey has been having to battle from day one, like last year, right? Rookie quarterback. And, he wasn't going to get the start. Then this offseason, there were still questions. And he's continuing to battle. And all the media these last couple weeks, the backlash, man, I just feel bad for Trey Lance. And that's why I feel so choking up about this loss. Like, it is bittersweet for me because I've been such a big Trey guy. And I know you have. And they have 3 running backs. They could have ran the ball. Like, I just don't get the quarterback power type runs on 3rd and short. And
not up the middle. Like, and then what does he do? He runs Jimmy G in the same like he at least he's consistent. You run Jimmy G on a sneak that you don't need to do that. Why are you going to do that? Why are you going to do he doesn't it doesn't make sense, man. None of it makes sense. I don't get and I fear that he had such a tough road anyway, the way Shanahan doesn't trust him and the way Shanahan doesn't set him up for success. How the heck is that going to happen coming off an injury now? So that's why, like, I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but I think the part of why I'm so down about it, like, I don't even want to talk about it, is because I feel like there's a real strong shot he's never going to be the player that I knew he could be. And I don't know that he can ever regain that positioning back. Maybe he will.
Yeah.
Maybe he will. I hope he does. But like if Shanahan is there, I honestly I feel like we've already been proven. It's already been proven that he won't allow him to blossom and become the player he needs to be, or he's going to be out to ruin him. If he didn't have Jimmy on the roster, he'd be more careful with him. Jimmy G.
I agree. He was kind of knew he had the backup plan, and that to me was a dilemma because okay, you have the backup plan, insurance plan, and it's like okay, if Trey gets hurt, whatever, we can be a little reckless because we do have Jimmy. And again, like people were so hyped up after the win, like there was. So I got some stories about this game. Like I am so shaken up about this game because there are fans that were rooting for Trey's downfall, and this was the moment they were like, "Yo, yeah, Jimmy's in. Let's." Like that made me sick to my stomach. There was a guy on my left, and when Trey went down, he's like, "Oh yeah, oh Jimmy's coming in. Let's go, lead the troops." And I looked at him, I was like, bro, the guy just went down. This was right before the cart came out. I was like, he might be hurt really seriously. And the cart comes out. I was like, dude, you're such a jackass, man. Like, the guy might be seriously injured. And when the cart came out, me being in the medical field, I knew it was bad. I was like, I saw the air cast. To me, I was like, that's a fractured end. I knew it. And I had people text me and stuff when we were talking. I didn't get to tell you guys because so many stuff was going on. And I knew, I was like, this fractured ankle, man, it doesn't look good. And he was like chirping, oh yeah, Jimmy, let's leave. And it was just so weird, man. Like, I love Jimmy. He's a class act. Like, I get it. It's a good dilemma to have, right? A good insurance policy. Like, I get it. But man, it was just so awkward seeing Trey go down. And I'm like, still trying to be hyped up. But I was like, in the back of my mind, like Debo said, he goes, it was hard for me to kind of get that rhythm early because I'm still thinking about Debo. Like, I was the whole game, or not Debo. I was thinking about Trey, as what Debo said. I was thinking about Trey, man. And I was just like, man. And then I see the updates on Trey, and I'm just like, oh man, like, and the thing with Jimmy is he's limited. Like, at some point, again, the Seahawks planned for Trey Lance today, and he was moving the ball effectively. They were balling, and then Jimmy, and I give him his credit. He did well today, right? They moved the ball, but a couple weeks when we play tougher opponents, they're going to load the box and they're going to force him to throw those passes that he can't make. They're going to keep loading the box, and they know Jimmy throws short passes over the middle, and they're going to come at him eventually.
Raj, this offensive line is not built to support Jimmy. It's thinned out. It's made and designed to run light. It's running light because Trey Lance can spread defenses out. Jimmy can't. And you played the Seahawks, and I just fear that everybody thinks that you're gonna not see different.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a different result in terms of blitzing and coming after Jimmy. You know what makes me so mad right now? This is what makes me angry. This is what makes, like, I'm literally angry, Raj. I'm past the point of like flipping out, and I'm just like, because I'm so drained from Sunday. I'm so drained I can't even really be my normal, like, screaming and yelling self. I'm drained. And this on top of being drained me even more. But what angers me, I'm angry. I'm sitting here stewing, is I'm watching Fields command his team with less talent. But hold on, listen. I'm watching Fields command his team with less talent. Yeah, he's down, but he's looking good. He's got less talent, but he's starting the beginning of his second year. Fully versed in his offense, looking amazing, and yet everybody wanted Jimmy G to finish out the year last year and have Trey come in and basically be green this year. And I'm seeing a team that fully committed to their pick. They fully committed to their pick. Shanahan couldn't fully commit to his pick the second year. Like, that's the problem. Like, everyone's saying insurance policy. Forget your insurance policy. Your insurance policy couldn't get it done last time. What makes you think the insurance policy is going to get you to the end of the road when you have a real injured and patchwork offensive line? So it's like I'm watching Fields, and I'm sitting here going, this team is building around their investment. They mortgage the future for their investment, and Shanahan can't even build around his. He's not building around. He never built around him. He built around Jimmy and Plan B, and that's why he was reckless with Plan A. And I'm watching Fields here, who's a seasoned sophomore right now, and Trey comes out green as can be, doubted like crazy. And what does Shanahan do after botching the Jimmy G situation, the Debo situation, creating chaos and animosity and no rapport building between Debo and Trey? What does he do? He's reckless, and he goes and runs his quarterback like he's a fullback. And then what does he do? He backs up his quarterback with the one guy that has that's going to give Trey the least amount of confidence in the world to be sitting behind, nipping at his heels. And then Jimmy comes in and has I know you guys are going to say Jimmy's a class act, and maybe this is me being angry. This is me just being angry, and I might be reading into this. But to me, I saw that same smirk on Jimmy G's face the moment he walked onto the field that I see when he throws 2 or 3 interceptions and loses a game and goes up to the podium with a big grin on his face. And like, so what about that loss? And he's like, a big grin on his face. He walked out there when Trey was just getting like wheeled off, and he's got this huge like grimace of like, oh, this is the best day of my life. And everyone's praising Jimmy, such a class act.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know.
It's tough, and I get it because they didn't create the way they created a controversy. We had we didn't
You're breaking up, Raj.
Me now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? We lost our quarterback, man, and you know what sucks? You know what sucks about it? They traded 3 draft picks to get Trey Lance. They traded up 3 draft picks to get him. So it's like you threw salt on the water because you traded up so much draft capital to get him, and now he's injured, and you got a whole another year to rebuild. And it's not like when he's coming back next year, it's QB1 most likely, right? Because Jimmy's on his last year of his contract. Let's say he's done. He balls out this year. He's got incentives in his contract to win. Jimmy's gone. Trey Lance is going to be coming off a massive, massive injury. It's not like he's just going to come right in and be the savior. Then he's got to go through all the development. You're right, man. I wish they would have played him last year because he would have went through his lumps last year. But one thing I got to say, though, about Trey, man, and we've been talking about it a lot. I posted a video about it earlier this week with Justin Fields said, Trey got to learn how to slide, man. That sliding got him in trouble. And I get it. That play that he got hurt, it was, up the gut, and those type of plays are stuff that they shouldn't call. Cal shouldn't be running his quarterback like a fullback, okay? But bottom line is when Trey does run, he's got to learn to be a little bit more protective and slide on that field. But, man, my man Vlad is here. Let's welcome him to the building. I know you got a lot to say tonight. Let it rip, man. What do you think today?
So I'm just watching I'm watching the Sunday Night Football. It's a messy situation that Kyle. If you don't believe in the kid, if you don't believe in, and this is all. I don't care what anyone tells you. I don't care what any press or media. If you don't believe in the kid, don't start him. You don't have to injure him. You don't have to put him on the shelf. You know what I'm saying? That's all this was. If anyone tells you anything different, that's all it is. That you can't, when you invest 3 first-round picks and then you end your season on a loss in the NFC title game and your general manager comes out and says, Jimmy's gone, we're going to trade Jimmy, it's Trey's team. Literally like moments after. You committed. Your pot committed. It's poker. You put all your chips in the middle. You couldn't get rid of Jimmy. Kyle sat and saw Trey for an entire offseason. And no matter what he tells you, he doesn't believe in him. He doesn't believe in him, period. And when you spread 3 wide receivers and you call in a shotgun formation and you call a quarterback draw option, right? He said it's an option play. Mm-hmm. He knows your tendencies. Any coach in any sport, it's not just football. It's tennis, it's wrestling, it's running. Coaches know tendencies. So when they call a play, they know what their player is going to do in that certain situation. Kyle knew Debo's not on the field. It's an option play. Trey's going to hold that ball and run. Kyle knew what he was going to do. He's seen that play a million times in practice. He calls it. Trey gets injured. Am I saying Kyle knew he was going to get injured? He wanted him to get injured? I don't think the guy wanted to put hurt on him. But he wanted to continuously put him in these situations where it's either you're going to get slammed in the face and you're going to learn or you're not going to do it. It's the same thing Fred Warner said. Fred Warner had an interview a few weeks ago and they asked him, how do you deal with the new players, whatever. And he said, Kyle tells us to go a little harder at certain guys to get them ready, for the season. Kyle knew Trey. I know. Kyle knew Trey was going to hold that ball. He knew he was going to hold that ball in the option play on 2nd and long. He knew it. And he called that play, I'm not saying he wanted to get Trey injured, but he wasn't putting him in the best situation. He wasn't putting him in the situation not to get injured. He was putting him in situations he knew he was going to take hits. And with a bad offensive line, and you have a 22-year-old kid, and listen, I know, I get it. I look at the numbers, guys. He's got $45 million coming to him in the life of his contract, right? Over the 5 years, you got $45 million guaranteed. So Kyle's looking at it and going, if this kid's not coming back, he's got $45 million. His family will be okay. It's no big deal. So it's cannon fodder. That it's the same thing he does with the running backs. It's cannon fodder. Like if you wanted to, you just invested 3 first-round picks in the kid. Maybe they don't matter. Maybe he's looking at it like the Rams and in these I know I'm a nut job. I know this guy's a nut job. I'm just looking at the play calling. And I'm saying, like, this kid is gonna hold the ball on option plays. Why are you making him hold balls on throw it? Jimmy comes in the league. Jimmy comes in the game. Jimmy didn't have anything to do in OTAs. They didn't even let him in practices. Nothing, right? He practiced on the side. Dude didn't have anything to do in OTAs. Jimmy comes into the game. Kyle's letting him rip. That sucker. Doesn't care.
The ball today. That was my issue. Is okay. Jimmy comes right in, and they were throwing, and I get it. I get it. Trey does have the mobility. He's a dynamic quarterback, but he can throw the ball too. He has the tight window of throw. Like, and also if you don't let him throw, he's not going to develop. Like, let him throw the ball, man. Let him rip it out. I feel like they should have just let him rip it out more. And they had 3 running backs active today. Jeff Wilson Jr. He looked good today. Ty Davis good. Jordan Mason didn't even get a carry. Like, if Jordan Mason can't get 3rd and 2 yards, and you're making your quarterback do the quarterback power, like, what does that say about your running back? Can you not get 3rd and 2? Like, I was a little irritated about it. There were some good performances. We'll get to those later because we're focusing on this, but it's just such a big topic because it's literally the big issue of the game. Like, yeah, we won, but again, it came at a monster price. And I know Jimmy's going to be able to win games, and the team rallies around him. They love him. They love Jimmy. The fans love him. But last year they hated him. It's just a weird dynamic. I don't know, man. This team is always surrounded by drama, man. It's tiring being a Niner fan. There's so many, like, pivot points and again, just like dramatic parts of being in this fan base. It's tough, man. My heart goes out for Trey. There was a couple comments in here and people have alluded to it. I'm going to ask both of you guys. I want to ask Smitty first. Does this remind you of the Robert Griffin III situation? RG3 Shanahan, he coached him as the OC in Washington, and he kind of famously ran him a lot. He got the injury, and then they rushed him to the playoffs, and then he tore his ACL again. And it feels like they were running RG3 a lot, man, and they were making him be a power runner. You know, he was a great thrower, but he also had that dynamic ability to run. A lot of people are comparing this to the RG3 situation. Do you guys think that holds any weight? Is that just hogwash? What do you guys think? Smitty, I'll let you take this.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think like it certainly does, but I think what more so reminds me of is the way he's approached Trey the entire way, like not setting him up to succeed. Like I think he did that by keeping Debo's situation. I know you guys disagree with me a little bit on that you would have waited or whatever. I still feel like I would have stepped up and said, if I was the coach and I came in, I'd say, what do I got to do to put this in place so we can make Debo feel appreciated? He put his body on the line, and he didn't have to play running back and wide receiver, but he did it. I don't care what we got to do, John or Jed or whoever you want to have to talk to. We need to, as a coach, I would say we need to get this taken care of now because Debo deserves it, and we need to start getting this team ready for next year. But no, it's dragging feet, not putting Trey in the best position possible. Jimmy G dragging all that out, trying to get some kind of phantom draft value and draft capital, and then bringing Jimmy G back, not putting Trey Lance in the best position, not addressing the offensive line with the money and dollars you could have potentially used to, improve the offensive line. And everybody's going to say, oh, that didn't really matter. It did matter. When you don't have money to spend, you end up not spending it. Like, you can figure out things, you can move money around. I get that, but you're also going to have a different approach of things if you have extra money on hand. I think this entire way, Shanahan has not set up Trey Lance for success. When you guys said out of your own mouths, once you put Trey in, you can't take him out. He went in and won a playoff, a game in week 17 against the Texans that had playoff implications. Yeah. He won it. He was in there. This wasn't like he stepped in for a quarter. He won that game. He took control of that game. I remember going on that X Live and I said, if he takes Trey out, I'm gonna lose it. You guys are like, calm down. It's not and then it started to slowly here. A couple days later, news broke where Shanahan's like, we don't know who our quarterback, and we're like, oh my God, is he really gonna go back to Jimmy G? He has not set Trey up for success. Look, like I say, I'm watching Fields and I'm looking at a team that's fully committed. There's no question at all that Fields is the quarterback. And I know they don't have a Jimmy G, this gem everybody thinks is a gem on the roster, sitting there, making it so like, oh, there's some question mark whether he's a starter. I don't see Jimmy that way, number one. But there's no question at all that he's the leader of the team. There's no question that Trevor Lawrence is the leader of the team. These guys got used. You don't wait on using a quarterback in today's NFL. You don't. This isn't back when Aaron Rodgers was a young rookie or any. This is a different day and age. You put your rookie quarterback out during year one. Maybe you wait till week 5, week 6, week 7, week 8. You rarely will ever see a top 10 overall pick quarterback sit and ride the bench for a year ever in the NFL anymore. In the past, yes. And look what Trey's had to endure. He has set him up in the worst possible way. And his plan B of Jimmy G is the reason he was reckless with plan A. Plain and simple. Or he would have protected him. He would have been more careful with him. But no, he was like, we got Jimmy G. So I'm just gonna run and yeah, teach him how to slide and then ask him to run up the gut. Like, what a contradiction.
Yeah, that was crazy. I totally, you make so many valid points, because you've said a lot of this, and now I think people are seeing it, and it's like, oh, it's kind of like, I feel like Smitty always has a lot of I told you so moments, but they don't respect you because you're a fantasy guy, you're not a Niner fan, but your takes are pretty good, man, for most of the time, and I get it. We're reacting to this, and what I say all the time is after a game, there's a lot of emotions. Tonight, there's a lot of anger, sadness, all these emotions. We definitely got to move on, but it's hard because you lose a player like this. And I said, I feel like this could have been something where they avoided it, where, you prepare the guy, you make sure he's ready, you give him confidence. Just looking at his face, man. Again, going back to that trade, just looked dejected, man. And again, I would have been dejected, but it just feels like maybe he felt he didn't, like maybe he even like felt in his mind like, man, they just put me in this bad situation. I feel bad for him. There's a couple comments going on to this that Mike McDaniels, right? He's looking better than Shanny, man. He made Tua look good today. And we talked about this too. Shanahan's going to miss Mike McDaniel a lot, like that offensive coordinator. He came in and he really took a lot of stress off of Kyle's plate. We talked about the multiple hats thing. I want to touch on that a little bit, but I want to get your thoughts on the Vlad, on the RG3. Do you think it's similar to that situation? Like, how do you feel about the whole, situation? I know we talked about a little bit where Trey, he ran a lot. They have a lot of running backs, but I feel like they overworked them in the running game. What do you think?
So it's a big difference in situations in the fact that so in Washington, Kyle Shanahan was just the offensive coordinator. He wasn't the head coach. So he had a lot less to say in the actual roster building. They drafted Robert Griffin III in the first round. Dan Snyder makes a lot more decisions about the roster in Washington than the ownership does in San Francisco. So they wanted Robert Griffin III as the quarterback. Kyle didn't believe in him. They took, in that same year they drafted Robert Griffin III, they drafted Kirk Cousins the same year. Kyle loves Kirk Cousins. Kyle, listen, there's a reason that Kyle Shanahan passed on Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson for Brandon Hoyer. The reason is because he doesn't like Trey Lance. He doesn't like Josh Allen. He tells you in press conferences, the best combination is a guy that runs like Michael Vick and throws like Drew Brees or whatever the hell he says. Lamar Jackson and throws like Drew, whatever bullshit. The best combination of quarterback is Tom Brady because he fucking wins all the time. Excuse my French. That's the best conversation. That's the best combination. He has all the rings. So Kyle's wrong right there. So Kyle's the smartest guy in the room. You got to understand. So when you're the smartest guy in the room, you don't like to be wrong. You don't want Robert Griffin to succeed. You see all the problems he has. He's not going to fix his throwing motion. He's not going to get as accurate as Kirk Cousins. So you use Robert Griffin in all these crazy dynamic ways. So people aren't paying attention. They're not thinking you're putting Robert Griffin in danger. They're saying, wow, look how dynamic Robert Griffin is. And then he gets injured because he already had ACL tears in college. And oops, we have to go with Kirk Cousins like we always wanted, right? And then when he comes to San Francisco, he's like, dude, let's go get Kirk Cousins. And he realizes, well, no, Minnesota's not going to allow it. They're going to give anything they can. They're going to give him the keys to the city. So he loses on Kirk Cousins. So he's sitting there with the third pick in the draft, 2017. Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes. No, they go Solomon Thomas and Brandon Hoyer. That tells you everything. You fast forward to now, he didn't want Trey Lance. It tells you right there in the play calling. He wanted Mac Jones, but Mac Jones missed that big throw in the pro day, and it didn't look good.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't move up to the third overall pick and draft a guy that missed his deep ball on the pro day. It looks ugly. You look stupid, especially with Trey Lance looking the way he did in his pro day. So they said, all right. And John talked them into it. John said, listen, buddy, this guy, you're going to develop him, da. Now we're here. And it's going to be like it's not going to matter at the end of the day because they're still going to get into the playoffs because this team's so talented and Jimmy's smart and they're going to be able to handle it. And it's fine. But it's just sad that this 22-year-old kid has to have his career put in jeopardy. I don't know. We can't sit here and say that Trey Lance is going to be just fine. You can't say that. He's played 3.25 games from 2020 to 2022. 3.25. 3.25 for basically 3 years. And next year he's out for this whole season. It's going to be almost 4 years removed until he gets back to 100%. If he's ever back to 100% from this injury, we don't rush. You know this. You don't know what happens with the human
tough
body.
Injury. I agree. This is a very tough injury, and that's why I'm like shooken up because the rehab process is going to be tough. But I know Trey's a tough young man. He's 22, and I'm gonna hope he has a good recovery. And they did invest a lot in him, and if they're super committed to him, they're gonna hopefully he comes back and gets to where he needs to be. But it's not going to be overnight. Like, oh yeah, he goes to rehab and it's guaranteed. It takes time. Any injury, no matter what. And we've been through it with so many players, man. And I think that's why it hurts because as a Niner fan, every single year we get these tough injuries, and it's part of the sport. I get it. Everybody gets hurt. It's football, but man, when you get a player injury like this, like the Nick Bosa, that deflated me. It's tough to deal with. It's not easy. We're trying to be positive. I know we won the game, so we got to move on. Unfortunately, we have to move on, and we have to kind of look through the rest of the season. It's not going to be easy. I know we can win games. They have a phenomenal defense. I think, to me, what really stood out to me, like, yeah, we lost Lance, and it's tough. But, man, this defense, they didn't allow the Seattle defense to score any or offense to score any points. It was a special teams touchdown they got. 2 tackles for loss. The sacks, I mean, Nick Bosa was everywhere. 7 tackles for loss, was it? 2 sacks. Nick Bosa was everywhere. Talanoa Hufanga is becoming a superstar in the making. Like, this guy is becoming a fan favorite. When he was announced today, people were like, oh. So, like, there are some bright spots I want to look at. Hufanga was nice today. Mooney Ward, he got his first pick as a Niner, man. This guy's been looking good as a cornerback. So, there are things you can build your hat upon. Moving forward, the O-line looked better today. Debo was Debo. He did well. He almost got 100 yards total all-purpose. So there were things you could hold your hat on. And the offense stalled at times, definitely did. It wasn't like, oh, my God. They did have that big touchdown to Ross Dwelly, and then the defense held them in check. The defense is going to continue to be the anchor of this team because it's literally the same team as last year now without Trey Lance. So the defense is going to keep bringing the heat. But I liked what I saw of the defense, and I really have been impressed with Talanoa Hufanga these last 2 weeks. And again, Nick Bosa is the man. And, Gibson, he played well today. Interception off the tip pass. So I do want to give the defense their flowers, man. I do want to be positive and get some good out of this because it was a win. There was some positivity tonight. And again, the defense, man, they played lights out. Like every drive I watched them, and I was like, man, they are playing with such a high motor. But it was Seattle, who we know didn't have like the greatest offense coming into this game. Geno Smith, we're going to be tested with other quarterbacks through the season. We got Herbert on the men later down the season. We got the Dolphins, man, and
Russ next week.
We got the Rams in 2 weeks. So it's going to get harder, but I want to see this defense continue to play at a high level. And again,
just threw a pick.
Mike McDaniel is a legend in Miami already, man. This guy is he's cooking teams with the Fins, man. Yeah. Shout out to McDaniel. And Robert Salah today got the dub. Shout out to Big Rob. and he said I
Keeping
kept the
receipts.
he must be watching us.
Keeping receipts. He's legit. Like,
Yeah.
dude, I put my bet against him. I said, yo, this is the worst team in the NFL.
Kept
The
the
Jets.
receipt.
And I said in my post, I said, if you lose to the worst team in the NFL, that makes you the worst team in the NFL. So the Cleveland Browns are the worst team in the NFL. How are you lose to the bro?
Bro,
that's nuts.
that game was crazy because like it didn't turn into a game till the fourth quarter.
You
Yeah.
see,
Comeback.
he brought his kids. Stefanski brought his kids down on the field to celebrate the win with them at a minute 30, and then the next 30 seconds he loses the onside kick and they score a touchdown. He brought his kids on the field. Poor guy.
That's funny, dude. That was funny, dude.
But Miami's scary. Miami's looking scary. That's a legit team, dude.
They're
Tua, Mike McDaniels.
I like him.
Imagine if Mike McDaniels had Tua back here. He could have won a Super Bowl.
It's gonna be a long season, man, because and with these quarterback, the drama, man, it's just so tough. I hope Jimmy can stay healthy. Knock on wood, and we. Now the dilemma is if Jimmy gets hurt, we got Brock Purdy as QB1.
That's Shanahan's dream.
You think so? Come on now.
He'll prove everybody wrong. You'll beat everybody with Brock Purdy. He'll be the smartest guy in the room.
Mr. Irrelevant. What a story this would be. Brock Purdy lead the Niners to the Super Bowl. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there.
I just want to say what I've been saying since especially privately, what I've been saying since May. Jimmy Garoppolo will start and win games for the 49ers. How many times did I say that?
But it's unfortunate it came because today the shitty injury. But you said it regardless of an injury, and so you did call it. Yeah, but moving forward, let's hope they continue to win games. The locker room, obviously, they love Jimmy, man. Like, it was weird. Like, he came right in. I mean, I'm sure he would normally because he's the leader of that team. But he came right in, and it was like they didn't miss anything. They didn't miss a beat. You know, he didn't play training camp. He didn't practice with them, but came right in, and it was old Jimmy. It was like the old team was there. It was a little weird again. I just felt
it was weird that Kyle opened it up as much as he did.
He did. But hey, we got the dub. Niner fans are happy. We beat Seattle. I think it was great. We beat Seattle at Levi's. But again, to me, it was just weird being there and seeing that. And there were fans that were divided in the stadium, and I saw it, man, and with my own eyes. I don't know. The rest of the season is going to be tough because if Jimmy plays those games where he's had some moments, you know, Tennessee game, he goes like that, the fans are going to rip him apart, man. So nobody's ever going to be.
What do you do? What do you do? Just roll back the old playbook?
What do you mean?
What
do you mean, old playbook? Did you see the game today? The dude was ripping it. He was ripping it, dude. He was throwing passes over 20, 30 yards.
He was dropping
no big deal, dude. And I'm not saying he hit all of them. He hit some of them, but regardless of whether he was accurate or not, Shanahan opened it up. It's not the same old playbook. Shanahan's open. He's going to open it up.
Well, no, but I'm saying this was a game prepared for Trey Lance, and I'm saying he comes in. So do you keep things the same? Do you roll things back to the old playbook? Do you keep it? Because the thing is like this guy would like what a strange situation. This guy barely got the playbook. He was kept out of the facility essentially, and then now he's running things like just what a mismanaged situation.
Yeah, dude. I'm telling you, he's gonna rip it. Kyle's gonna open it up. Just like he did. Look what he did, dude. He first of all, if he doesn't open it up, he's an idiot because the offensive line is bad, and you just lost your rookie quarterback that you just open it up.
What I mentioned earlier, and there's some people in the chat making comments about it, is am I the only one in the people in the chat talking about it that felt Jimmy G like smile and grimace the moment he came in and Trey is literally being wheeled off the field? Got that grin like.
Smitty was a weird. That's all I'm gonna say. It was a weird vibe. I did feel, and there were fans that were happy about it. Like I said, I mentioned that there was a lot of fans. I got this like weird vibe. They were cheering the injury, man. I didn't like it. And one thing, Jimmy didn't make all his passes. They were letting him rip. Like second half, he was missing. The second half offense was ugly.
Awful.
It was bad. But maybe Jimmy's rusty, whatever the case is. I'm not going to sit here and argue that. But teams are going to prepare for Jimmy. And I think Vlad's right. Now knowing that Jimmy's the quarterback and Kyle in his old days with Jimmy, they would do the little dink and dunk. I think he has to. I think he has to stretch it. You're going to have to throw it deep, whether he can hit those or not. But I think they're going to have to. And if we have to talk about, is this Jimmy's really his last season with the Niners?
No.
Year? I know it's one more year on his contract. If he does good, what if they get to the end?
I'm sure he's going to get a 10-year
coming
extension.
Back, bro. He's going to get a 3 or 4 year extension.
He'll get an extension longer than Trey's.
I guarantee you, he's going to be here with Trey for the next 3 or 4 years. I'm telling you, like, the smart thing, somebody said, so what do you do, SF Flood, whatever, I think said it. What you do is you get Sean Payton, but that's not going to happen. They're not going to get Sean Payton like they should. They're not going to do that. They're going to stick with Kyle. They're going to get in the playoffs this year. He's going to get an extension. Jimmy's going to get an extension. I'm telling you.
If you guys miss the playoffs this year, listen, just hypothetically, in honest answers, if you miss the playoffs this year, is Kyle get one more year, or is he
playoffs? It depends on if Jimmy gets hurt and we miss playoffs, he won't get fired. You know what? I think Shanahan still has an extra year or two because the Trey injury now opens. Now he's tied to Trey, so Trey's gonna get his time to rehab and stuff because the jury's still out on Trey. He got injured. I think he still has time to kind of. Is he going to rehab? Is he going to come back? And is he going to be ready to go and stuff? They depending on the injury to Trey, maybe they keep Jimmy. You never know. Maybe they do trade him or whatever the case is, or he goes to another team. Because this is Jimmy's open practice. It's a free season. He can go out there, ball out, and teams are like, oh, wow, look at Jimmy, or the Niners can be like, man, we got to keep him again for an insurance policy because Trey Lance is coming off a massive injury. So it's gonna be another interesting offseason, man, and the drama keeps following the Niners. Again, I think Jimmy came in and he handled himself well today. I do got to give him that credit. I know you guys don't want to, but he did come in today. He won the game. It was crazy situation. Like, it was definitely crazy. I was just like, holy shit, he got thrown in the fire. I do feel like someone mentioned it earlier. The locker room vibes are interesting. There's a dynamic, man. Like, you could tell some players were like, hell yeah, dude, Jimmy's back. And then there were some players that were like, I feel bad for Jimmy. It's just weird, man. I don't know. We don't know what's really going on behind scenes. Like, we can sit here and speculate, but it's just weird to me. But, hey, again, Niners won. Defense looked good. I do want to bring this up. Drake Greenlaw got extended today, 2-year extension. So, real quick, this is kind of on my radar. It's kind of weird. 2 days ago, they extended Mitch Wishnowsky, okay? And then today they extended Drake Greenlaw. So, they got all this extra money this last couple of weeks, right, when they restructured Jimmy. And now they're extending all their players. So Smitty talked about this earlier in the season. If they would have been a little bit more proactive, maybe they could have kept Laken Tomlinson.
Yeah, John Lynch is a bad general manager.
It is weird. There's some weird stuff going on. I don't know.
Bad GM, bad coaching.
It is, and the messed up thing is, it's like when you're in a group project and you have a couple of guys in your group that like carry you, and like Adam Peters in the coach and the scouting department, they get all these like gems. They get all these like great players, Kittle and all. They bring all these guys in, and then John Lynch just gets the credit for it. But like, if you like, if you juice check Trent Williams, that's it. Every other decision. And Nick Bosa was a first-round pick the day he was born. The day he was born, he was the first-round pick. No offense, Smitty, it was the Cardinals' mistake for letting him go second overall.
Kyler looked great today. Can we just admit that at the end of that game, Kyler commanded?
Who would you rather, Smitty? Who would you rather have on your team, Nick Bosa or Kyler Murray? Come on.
I mean, of course, Bosa, but today Kyler was star. Can we at least give him his respect?
I'll give him his flowers. Call of Duty hasn't come out yet.
He looked good today, yo. Shout out to Kyler Murray. He looked good today. I want to keep it positive now. I know it's been a wild night. We're all upset with Trey. The Niners got the dub again. Positive vibes through the chat. Let's be happy we won the game. It came at a cost. But we got my man Locke in the building. Let's welcome Big Locke. What's up, man? How you feeling tonight?
What's good? What's good, man? We got the dub. First of all, everybody in here, before we even start off the thing, man, shout out to Trey Lance. Get well soon. It's unfortunate to see such a talented young prospect get hurt in only his fourth start. So I got to give him a huge shout out. And I see the vibes are a little bit somber. It's kind of bittersweet. Everybody's it's kind of shook up. I could already tell by the tone of the live that Smitty is really upset. He hates Kyle Shanahan. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? I can see that. But I want to focus on the positive because that's just my natural attitude. And I feel like it's pretty awesome that the team could rally. You know what I mean? Like, would it be better if the team there was just a loss and the team just accepted it and like, oh, it all fell apart? No, like the team showed resilience. Mm-hmm. It's war out there, bro. Like every Sunday for the NFL, these players, they sacrifice their bodies, their time, everything. They put it on the line and they rally for their player. You know what I mean? They rally like they went out and got that dub. I mean, the young man got carted off the field and the Niners got that dub. So I feel like that's a testament to the whole organization, all the players that they got that dub because they could have easily crumbled and something weird could have happened. And you know how it is the NFL. I mean, look at the Cardinals. Shout out to Kyler Murray. He got it done, but they were losing that entire game. When I checked the score, I was like, oh, the Cardinals getting blown out. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then they come back and you know what I mean? Kyler does all this stuff and he looked great at the end. You know what I mean? So you can lose any second in this league. So for the players to rally, shout out to the whole organization. I know y'all don't want to hear this, but shout out to the coaches and everybody for getting that dub done and pulling through and rallying the troops and getting that dub for Trey Lance. So that's kind of the way I look at it.
I appreciate, and again, I didn't want to end the night on a negative note. I mean, it wasn't really negative. We're just going out here and sharing our thoughts on the whole situation. Because again, everybody's a little irritated that Trey got hurt. But you're right. Yeah. It is a positive vibe. Like one thing I've said all the time with the Niners is they know how to battle through adversity. They've been a team that's had these injuries. And that's why I think we're upset. Because every year we have some shitty injury. But they do know how to battle back. Like Nick Bosa injury. Jimmy Garoppolo got injured a couple years back. Like big injuries every single year to key players. And they know how to weather the storm. They got good backups. And that's the thing. They always have good depth and backups. So I don't think it's the end of the world for the Niners. They're going to continue to grind. They're still a top team in the NFC. I think the wind got knocked out of everybody's body. Like the wind got knocked out of everybody's sails tonight with that injury. And it was, I think, people trying to find a way of putting blame on someone on why the injury hurt. Again, we could bring that up again, but I don't want to because we've talked about it. I just feel like this team is resilient, like you said, and moving forward, they know they got to win these games and be safe and be. But again, it's the football, it's NFL, and injuries are going to happen. But hey, man,
you got to be careful with Debo as well. There, you've got running backs. There's no need to be running either Trey or Debo up an A or a B gap. You need to be very careful. You could be in the same exact situation where you're on a live stream going, "Why did Kyle run Debo as a running back so much and not as a wide back?" Because they're very different things. Wide back, you want to put him in jet sweeps and get him the ball at or slightly behind the line of scrimmage from a wide receiver perspective. Have him, do what he does, like in the slot, like do all kinds of things, knifing around the field, sure. But like if you start running him between the A and B gap, and this guy's doing what Trey just did, he's going to get hurt, and then everyone's going to defend Shanahan again. Like I just,
they're gonna say it's unfortunate, and it's true. It's what.
So I'm sorry. I mean, I missed the. I just got the message, so I missed most. So is that the sentiment? Like, are most people, are we upset with the coaching staff? Is this what you know what I mean? I'm trying to figure out what it is.
I think the vibes are. I think people are upset because I think they think that Kyle Shanahan didn't utilize Trey Lance right. Like, you have a lot of running backs and you're making your quarterback run these power plays up the middle instead of utilizing, one of your three running backs. So I think they put Trey in a bad position. But at the end of the day, Kyle says, it's just an unfortunate issue with how the NFL is, its injuries and stuff. But I mean, we can argue it till we're blue in the face. I mean, what do you think on this?
Yeah, I think I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not into all that kind of stuff. I think that the coaching staff, I think that Kyle thought. Now you may disagree. We may disagree. I'm not even saying I agree with this. I'm saying that what it looked like to me is Kyle thought that was his best opportunity of utilizing Trey. So he's the one that's with him in practice. Now, whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. You know what I mean? When I'm watching the game, I'm literally like, yo, why is he running him like that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why is he running? Like, yo, like, don't do that. You know what I mean? But I don't know what's going on in those meetings. I don't know if they're telling him, like, yo, get down. You know what I'm saying? I personally, even when I saw Trey, from last week to this week, I'm not blaming this on Trey. I'm not blaming it on anybody. I'm just saying that I don't know what's going on in those coaching rooms. So I'm just like, in my head, I'm just like, yo, Trey, get down. You know what I mean? And I'm also like, yo, why is Kyle calling these plays for him to run up the middle? Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is dangerous. Like, you know what I mean? But then I'm trying to look at it. I'm just like, well, maybe he thinks this is his best option. And we might look at it and be like, yo, he doesn't know what he's doing, but maybe he's seeing something like, yo, I feel like this is my best option. I don't know. I think that's the unfortunate part, So, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it. But I'm with you. Like, I'm watching the game. I'm like, yo, why is he running up the middle? Like, why is Kyle, you know what I mean? Why is he calling these quarterback draws? It's like right up the, you know what I mean? Up the middle of the field. So, yeah, it is the win was taken out.
Just from like a fan, from my perspective, right? So me watching this game, and I'm looking at it like anybody else. I don't know anything, just like you. I'm just a guy watching the game. I don't know anything. But I'm looking at it and I'm going, so I'm gonna take everything in life, right? You take it off of what happened, right? History, and then you say what people say. So if Kyle's going to stand there in the press conference and say, well, Josh Allen and Lamar and, Patty, they all do these kinds of plays. So that tells me that he's saying, well, if they do it, well, Trey should do it. Those guys, a guy like Josh Allen, when he runs, he's running because the defense is afraid of him throwing, because his coaches put him in situations where the defense is like, wow, this guy can sling it. He's spreading the ball around. We have to watch his throwing ability. Now the defense backs off and Josh Allen runs. When you set up your offense and you're telling your defense, I'm going to run it up the middle with my 22-year-old quarterback like he's Derrick Henry, and you're going to do it over and over. Like I understand he only ran 3 times, but it was the same run. It wasn't like a design like he was trying to sweep him outside or set something up like the Bears do with Justin Fields, where he rolls to the left or rolls to the right. And he wasn't doing that.
It was right up the middle.
And it's weird to see, because you're going, I'm not saying that Kyle wanted him to get injured, but like, is that the best way to take care of your franchise? I don't think so.
Hold on.
It's like I said, though.
Hold on. Alexandria, she says Trey doesn't have the speed for the outside, it seems. What do y'all think about that?
That's what I wanted to say. Does he not have that ability to hit the outside holes? Is maybe that why Kyle is...
I'm just saying, Kyle is with him every day. Kyle is studying him. They're watching him. We're fans, and I understand. Like, I'm trying to make sense of this just like you guys. But Kyle is with him every day. I don't think Kyle wanted to get him hurt. If he did, then that's horrible. I don't think that benefits him. We can go on some conspiracy shit, but I don't think that's what it is. I think that for whatever reason, he thought, this is me. This is what I got. He could be wrong, but I think this is what he thought. Like, oh, I'm going to utilize him the best that I can. And like Vlad was saying, it's like Trey. He's not Josh Allen. Josh Allen, this is his 4th year. You know what I mean? So Josh Allen has time to develop. Like, Trey is just got pulled into just such high pressure situation. He didn't have that time to kind of just learn on the fly and have a 3 and 15 season, a 3 and 14 season. So it's just it is unfortunate in a lot of ways. But I have a hard time just completely blaming the coaches like that. But I do I felt the same way watching it as you guys did. Like, yo, why is
Yeah,
he?
I
Why
think
is he
what it
doing
is, I think what it is, Locke, though, is that it's not it's that he would have been more careful if he wasn't setting up plan B so much. Like that's what it's all about. It's like not putting into the offensive line by holding on to Jimmy this plan B. And I know everyone says Tomlinson was going to go anywhere. There's this plan, whatever, but you could have helped support plan A more and stop worrying about plan B. They always say you're worried about people that dominate plan A don't have a plan B. And it's like no team really has a plan B. And I know that you guys love the idea that Jimmy G's there. It feels like insurance, but unless you feel like it's going to end differently, and maybe you do, and I respect that opinion. I don't think it's crazy, but I just feel like you're playing for second place. You're
I
playing
guess
for
so.
second
Basically,
place.
you're saying, you correct me if I'm wrong. You're saying that Kyle never gave Trey that full plan A.
Oh, I think everyone in the chat, I'd say 90% of the chat is going to give you an A, man. Yes, thumbs up. That's exactly how
Okay,
the
I get you.
majority of
You know what?
everybody feels.
I can't really disagree with that.
And on top of that, you wouldn't, if you were putting all on Trey, you wouldn't have run him up the gut. You ran him up the gut because you felt comfortable with plan B. And that's the
I don't know. I don't know about that.
So here's real quick. It's like you said, Locke. So when you're a coach, right, and this isn't any sport, this is in anything in life. So you see what the most likely outcome is. So you run that QB draw and you realize that if Debo's not on the field, Trey Lance is going to hold that ball. More times than not in practice, when you run this play, you run the quarterback option, Trey Lance is going to hold that ball. And he did it again, right? More like that's what you see in practice. Like in hockey, all right, I'm going to pass to you when you're open on the right wing. You're going to try to get that puck in on the glove side of the goalie. Every time you're on the right corner, you're going to get it in the glove side. It's the same thing in football. Every time I call this quarterback draw, he holds the ball if Debo's not on the field. So I'm going to call it again. He holds the ball and boom. And I'm not saying he did it to get him injured. No one can do that kind of stuff. But it's like, why are you putting him in these situations? Spread the ball out. Let him throw. If he can't complete the balls, he can't. And he's not the guy. Then he's not the guy. And we find out. But to put him in situations where he's like a battering ram, like, what are you doing?
And not to mention, would any one of you three have run Jimmy G on that sneak either? On top of that, I mean, would anybody have done that?
He was running Jimmy up there. Somebody in the comments said if they run Jimmy the way they did today, we're going to be in plan C.
And they
like,
did.
Yo, literally true. Like, they running these dudes weird. Like, and Debo, I love Debo, but he uses them a lot in the run.
Debo, he better not hurt Debo, bro. He better not hurt Debo. If he keeps making decisions like this, Debo's going to end up hurt.
I want him to, man. Doesn't, but hey, man, it's a tough win. It's so weird to say this was a tough win because you did lose your quarterback. But again, I know we have that insurance policy, but man, it's not going to get easier. Next week we play Denver. Denver's tough. We got Russell Wilson, and he has our number, man. But again, I think this defense. The biggest takeaway to me, and we're not talking about enough, is how good the defense of the 49ers was today. And
I got to jump, Raj.
Yeah, of course, man.
Locke, appreciate you, man.
For sure.
Letty.
My man, they kept it real today. We love it. I think as long as the 49ers defense continues to play the way they've been playing today, we got a chance in all these games. And that's how it's always been. Niner ball is defense with this team. But the scary thing is this defense keeps balling out. After the season, DeMeco Ryans is gone, man. Like, I think he'll take a head coaching job.
Yeah.
So, and we got to win it all, man. It's just tough. We got talent. It is just a weird win, and I do want to give this defense the flowers because we're not giving them enough credit. We've been talking about the trade and everything, the whole situation, but this defense needs some respect because I was out there, man, and they were flying to the ball, man. Like, this defense is the real deal.
How many sacks Bosa get? 2?
He had a 1.5 because he split a sack with Drake Jackson. Shout out to big boy Drake Jackson, man.
Yes, sir.
Grinding, he was working hard. His defense was relentless. Yo, Drake Greenlaw, he played a better game today.
He played a better game, man. He played a better game.
Last week we had 12 penalties. Today we had one penalty That was a
And look,
big.
and shout out to Dre Greenlaw. He made that big stop. Remember when he tackled dude right in the middle of the ocean, just like grab, you know what I mean? Like straight up man tackle.
Yeah. You know, I got a comment right here from Sad Niner fan. Make D'Amico the head coach of the 49ers. Oh.
I would do that tomorrow.
Oh.
What?
Oh.
Man, y'all are tripping.
I would do that tomorrow.
That's spicy, bro. Put D'Amico as head coach, and then you can make Kyle the OC, bro.
Nah, he's not gonna do that.
I know we like to have fun, but you never know what's gonna happen. But yeah, shout out to the defense. Talanoa Hufanga, this man is becoming a star.
Yo, it seemed like he was on every play. He was involved in every single play on defense. It's crazy.
He's got energy. He's sick, bro. Like there was times you see him darting. He's like a.
So, did he get an interception? No, he caused one interception.
No, he had the tip. He did
and
the
it exactly.
Yeah, he got
and Gibson got the interception, right?
Yeah.
What was it? Okay.
Yeah, look good.
Yeah.
He did.
For Jimmy Ward.
Yeah, he's looking good, man.
Dude, the secondary's fine. Like when Jimmy Ward comes back, it's going to be scary. Like when he comes back in a couple weeks, this defense is going to be crazy. Because look how much pressure they're putting on quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's why like, this defense is what's really keeping this team strong, and they're going to win games because this defense. I will say the offense at times it stalled, and it's gonna be the same thing, man. Like we've had over the last couple of years. But Vlad, you did make a good comment that you think that they're gonna let Jimmy rip it more. He did. Like honestly, I think the shoulder surgery might have done him some well because he was throwing.
So.
Hey man, I'm sending positive vibes towards Trey. You know what I'm saying?
Like honestly, like the only thing that's gonna make up for this is if they do win a Super Bowl. Because if this kid's career's wrecked, like I'm hoping it's not, but like it could be. Like you're messing with this because you have to think, right? Locke, he's played 3.25 games from 2020 to 2022, 3 games and a quarter. Next year it's going to be 3 full years since he played a season of football. How is he going to come back? If that's going to mess this kid up, hopefully they get a Super Bowl for us. Like that, as fans, give us a.
Yeah, man. I mean, I feel you, man. I feel everybody, man. But we got the dub today, and football is a war every week, and we'll see what happens. Sunday night. We Sunday night next week, right?
Yeah, Sunday night against the Broncos. This can be a long week because there's gonna be a lot of stories. This drama, man, is tough. I already know there's gonna be some spinning stories. I just saw some tweet go through my phone when we were talking. It said, and it's the rumors, the drama. It was like a Bleacher Report tweet. It said, fans or coaches in the locker room already says that they trust Jimmy more than Trey. Like these stories are gonna be coming out, whipping out. These reporters are gonna be spinning these takes this week, and it's gonna be ugly, man. But at the end of the day.
I mean, it doesn't really matter at this point.
At this point, it don't matter. They're going to be spinning stories to get their takes out and flush out whatever negativity they want. But we got to stay up. It's Victory Monday tomorrow, and we got to move on, man. And it sucks. We get these injuries, but you have to keep fighting and keep moving. And ultimate goal is Super Bowl. We'll see what happens. I don't know, man.
Yeah. All right, boys. I'm going to get out of here.
All right, y'all.
Yeah, appreciate you for coming in, Vlad. Take care, man. I know it's late out there in the East Coast, man. Good stuff.
No bad. Thank you.
All right, Vlad. Peace.
Good night.
My man, Locke. You gonna be spitting bars this week? We got a dub.
I mean, I want to spit the bars, man. Do y'all want the bars? I feel like everybody's depressed.
I know, we gotta keep it real. We gotta keep it a buck. I know there's been some somber vibes, but at the end of the day, we did get a dub, and the season's got to move on. We can't get stuck. Like you do have to move on. It does suck.
Listen, man. Jimmy G got injured 2 out of the 4 seasons that he'd been here prior to this year, right?
Yeah.
This shit fucking excuse my language. I know I don't want to mess up the algorithms, but this stuff happens, man. It's very unfortunate in football, bro. I personally do not think Kyle wanted to injure Trey. I think that maybe he was just a little bit too scared. He didn't want to, he wanted to, like, I got to use this guy. I got to use him, utilize him how I feel like is best. And maybe that was a bad calculation, but I don't think he personally did it. But I do feel like Jimmy stepped in and the team rallied and they got that dub for Trey. And and they everybody seems to be, from what I saw, all the interviews, the post-game interview, everybody thoughts are with Trey. They want to pull through for the guy. He never got a chance to really show, after all this talk. But I think that it was good that they got a win. And, let's go out and get a Super Bowl for Trey, man.
Yeah, win for Trey, baby. Now you got a rallying point. Win for Trey. Let's rally behind Jimmy. You got Guap out there, and let's see what he can do. If he's really that guy that you can win games with, let's do it. And Jimmy has incentives in his contract that say the more he wins games, the more money he gets. So if he wants to perform well to help his team win, he's gonna get more money. He can make up to 16 mil with the incentive. So hey, it benefits Jimmy and the Niners to go out there and win games. And I know it does suck to lose to Trey, but at the end of the day, we got a quarterback that has incentives to go out and win games. You win games, you get more money. Let's go out there, ball. We got a great defense. What I've been talking tonight is I want to really emphasize the defense is so good, and we can still go out there and beat these teams in the NFC West, man, and the NFC. We're right now 101.
We absolutely can. How did Russell Wilson? How did they look? Denver look.
Russell didn't look good today. They got a win, but it was like
it was ugly, right?
It was ugly, bro. Russell Wilson, you know what? He's not been looking good in Denver right now. It takes time to gel. It takes time, and I think Pete Carroll needs a little bit more respect on his name for what time with him and Russ and the Seahawks. Like, they had an amazing defense, the LOB, the Legion of Boom. I hated them, but they were good. Had good, good players on that offense. So Russell Wilson, he ain't cooking right now in Denver, but he historically has cooked against the Niners.
But listen, I know. Listen, I'm an entertainer. I'm a rapper. I know Sierra is not happy in Denver. She does not want to be in Denver. You know what I'm saying? At least when she was in Seattle, you know what I mean? That's just like a couple hours from LA. But being in Denver, she don't want to be in Denver. You know what I'm saying?
So what you gonna go do? Snowboard or
she don't want to be in Denver. You know what I'm saying? They want to. So she was just like, "What? You picked Denver?" You know what I mean? So, but on a real note, man, I hope the Niners, man, I hope they march in there and get that dub. The whole world is gonna be watching Sunday Night Football. The bars are coming. The bars are coming, and we're gonna push forward. We're gonna get this dub for Trey.
Yeah, I think so. You know what? And I don't want to hate on Jimmy because I feel like people think that we hated on him. It's not that I'm hating on him. I love Trey. I wanted him to get his chance. But you think Jimmy don't want to go out there and prove himself? And you don't think that Jimmy wants to go out there and just be whatever? Jimmy's got to prove wrong too. Like, people have been hating on him too. He's got a lot of people to prove wrong.
Listen, Jimmy has not practiced this whole offseason. The man has not played with none of them. He just got his first practice. He just got his first practices the last 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Where he's actually in practice running plays, probably 10. How many plays has he actually ran with the starters? So, for him to just hop in, get in there, throw a touchdown, get in there, run in for another touchdown. Jimmy got in there and, got in there and performed well. And he's got something to prove. People doubted him, said he wasn't about nothing. That the organization kind of doubted him. Oh, we're going to trade you. He said his goodbyes. You know how hard that is? You know what I mean? To come back and play like that. So now the pressure's all on him. And listen, don't sleep on Brock Purdy. You know what I'm saying?
Big Purdy, baby.
Don't sleep on Brock Purdy. Like we saw, we were at those practices when Brock Purdy got in there. He made some really good throws and he looked good. You know what I mean? He's young. And so, listen, we got to move forward. The defense is the anchor. You know what I'm saying? The running game is obviously, our anchor. And we get this dub for Trey, man. Let's get this Super Bowl for Trey.
Let's get this dub for Trey, win these games for Trey. And you know what? Like I said, Jimmy's got people to prove wrong because, hey, well, we've seen it all before. He gets to the playoffs, and then the big games come, and then what do people say? Jimmy can't get that big dub for us. this is his opportunity now. You got the world is handed to you in the platter. You have it. Seize the fucking day. Carpe diem, Jimmy. Like, this is it in front of your place. And if he goes out there, man, and he wins, and the team goes out there and has a hell of a season, wins the Super Bowl, bro, we're all eating crow. I know I am. I'll be the first one to say I was wrong. Prove me wrong. But the key again, one more time, I'm going to say it. I'm going to hammer this point down. It's the defense, man. As long as this defense is there, we got a chance to win every game, Lock. Nick Bosa was a menace today, bro. Nick Bosa was a menace.
Listen, in 2020, our defense just suffered. You know what I'm saying? Nick Bosa, what was that? The first game, or whatever, second game. So we know he's looking like a beast out there. The whole defense, I mean, the secondary is just swarming to the ball every time, everywhere. I mean, they was giving DK Metcalf all kind of problems. You know what I mean? They called that little ticky-tack, that little ticky-tack pass interference. Like, come on, man. Like, that's a bang-bang play. You know what I'm saying? Like, you let that go, man. So shout out to them boys, man. Charvarius, Emmanuel, you know what I mean? E-Man was out there balling, man. Big Huff, you know what I mean? Man, they was all over that place, man. They was everywhere, man, causing havoc. You know, the linebackers, Greenlaw was under control. They was making the tackles. I mean, they didn't score on offense.
It's a special team blocked field goal, and they ran it back for a touchdown. That's the only time they scored. The Niners defense did not allow Seattle to score on offense.
Not a point.
Shout out to the defense. They balled out. And again, this secondary, Vlad said it earlier, they're going to only get better when Jimmy Ward comes back. Like, this defense was cold-blooded, man. E-Man and Charvarius Ward, that's a great duo. And I want to tell you, man, Metcalf was making these one-handed, athletic as hell plays, but Mosley was giving him the business, man. Like, he has the dog in him. And you could tell, like, Metcalf, there was a time where he was just like, he was so frustrated, man. And shout out to the defense, man. This team's going to go far because of the defense, but will the offense be able to take that second leap?
I think so.
I hope so.
I think so. I think TDP, I think Jordan Mason, I think they're going to come along nicely. And I think Jimmy has got a chance to get healthy. And I think we're going to see. We're going to see what happens next week, man. We're going to see what happens next week. Next week is going to be a nice indication, because now, moving forward, we know what direction we're going in. We know exactly what's going on. And it's going to be a good indication. It's going to be the whole world to see on Sunday Night Football. This is not going to be easy. Denver they have a good, the defense is still a good defense. You know what I'm saying? And it's not going to be easy. So we're going to see what happens, man. We're going to see how they respond. We're going to see how Jimmy responds being in this tough situation. We're going to see how the offense, because look, we talk about the defense. Defense was amazing, but that offense still put up, how many points we put up? 27?
27 points, yeah. 27
points. That's no joke. You know what I mean?
I bet if we put up 27 points and the defense plays the way they're doing, we're beating a lot. But you're right, Denver, it's a hostile environment. Denver fans are real good fans. Like, they travel, like, I know they haven't been good for a while, but they're a team that has really loyal ass fans, and it's a tough situation. The altitude, it's not gonna be an easy game. And they got some of our former players. It's gonna be a little bittersweet to see some of our boys from there, DJ Jones and my boy K'Wan Williams. It's gonna be cool to see them, but it's gonna be bittersweet. But hey, third time's a charm. That's what
run for your life. Run for your life, Russell Wilson. Run for your life. Run.
Let's get it to him, man. Let's get Russell down. If we beat Russell Wilson the week after we beat Seattle, the vibes are gonna be so high next week.
It's gonna be crazy. So we need this dub, man. We need to get this dub for Trey. We need to bring this energy back to the Bay Area, to all the fans. And the bars is coming. Yeah. I can't wait. You know what I mean? We're going to dedicate this next one to Trey for sure. Make sure he keep him in good spirits and motivate the team. You know what I mean?
I can't wait. I can't wait to hear these bars. I can't wait to hear the motivation. And like you said, man, prayers up to Trey. At the end of the day, I got a lot of love for Big Trey, man. And it's not over yet. It's just a minor speed bump for the kid, and he'll bounce back.
He'll bounce back, man.
It happened to Nick Bosa, man. ACL tear, and look at him now. Look at
exactly.
the man. Look at him now. And I know Trey Lance, he's tough. He's hungry. He's a young man that wants to succeed in this league. And I hope he just rehabs his ass off and comes back stronger than ever, man. And that's it. I just want to make sure Trey feels loved out there, because the comments have not been good for him. So shout out to Trey Lance, man. I love him, man. I love him. So.
Shout out to Trey, man. Get well soon. You will be back, brother. And you know, we're gonna get this dub. And, it's a good night. You know, it's a bittersweet night, but we're gonna make this season dedicated to Trey. And I think the players is gonna pull through for him, man. Let me hop off of here, Raj.
Yeah,
I appreciate you, brother.
Hey.
The bars are on the way, and let's go, man. Niner gang, let's get it.
Hey, appreciate you tapping in for the night. These
Always.
shows are always fun. So whenever you want, man, every weekend after the game, just hop in. I'll give you the link. You come in and talk your stuff, man. So.
We in here, bro. Let's get it.
Man, love you.
Peace.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that does it for tonight. Hey, we got the dub. I hope you guys were entertained. You know, we got everybody's opinions out there. You may agree, you may disagree. We all try to keep it as 100 as we can. At the end of the day, I love y'all. I love you so much. This is gonna be a long season. We're 1-1. Season is gonna be crazy. It always is. The Niner football, you can never go without some type of drama headline, and you know how it goes. But hey, go to bed tonight with your head held high. We beat the Seattle Seahawks at home, and that to me is a big task, and we can't hold this win lightly. It was a dub. We got it. Defense played their asses off, and I'm proud of this team for fighting and rallying. I'm sad for Trey Lance. I'm in shambles, but hey, man, I love you guys so much. We're gonna stay strong together. I know we're upset at times. It's okay to get your feelings out. It's okay to be venting and, you know, get your frustrations out, because we're all a family. We all love each other, and we all want to get that Niner championship more than anything. So I love you. Appreciate the support. Let's get this dub next week against Denver. Have a good rest of your night. And bang, bang. Niner gang, man. I love you guys so much. Appreciate you. Have a good night.